We back and we back. Zeus P, Tank Juice. Let the light in, man. It's the 2-hour lunch break, dog. I'm locked in. So turn your speakers up a notch and grab the white gin. And when I'm on the road to the office or the crib, it's Big Zeus, St. Jude, the ones I wanna hear. This is that 2-hour lunch break live from Lady Bird J Lake.
Coming to you live, putting on for the city.
This is that 2-hour lunch break live from Lady Bird J Lake.
And it's coming home to Texas. It's coming home all the way to Austin, Texas, baby.
Back to the 2-hour lunch break podcast, man. A podcast for Austin, from Austin. I'm your host, Trot with Zeus, and today's guest is a singer-songwriter based out of Austin who's been quietly building a cinematic, soulful sound that blends dream pop, quiet storm, and trip hop textures. Her music pulls from influences like Sade, Donald Summer, and a few modern indie voices, but she's crafting a world that's completely her own. She grew up between West Africa, Europe, and the U.S., and that international upbringing shows in the depth and perspective of her songwriting. And after moving to Austin and spending the last several years finding her sound, she's now stepping into a new era with her upcoming album, Royale. And tomorrow, February 20th, she's releasing her brand new single, Pocket Aces, a noir-inspired track that flips the classic femme fatale story on its head and pulls listeners into the cinematic universe she's been building. So today we're talking about her journey across continents, finding her creative home in Austin, her love for film and storytelling, and what listeners can expect from Pocket Aces and the Royale project. Please, Austin, man, welcome Karima Santi into the building, man. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you.
All right,
for that
all right.
Warm introduction.
Oh yeah. We got a big name in the building. I had to roll out the carpet, bring you in the right way, you know. So number one, I had to make sure the intro was all the way on point when you came into the building.
I appreciate it.
So, now that we got you here, number one, I want to say, and I think we talked about this off air, thank you for, coming through. I understand, you're a woman of many talents. You got a busy schedule, so I appreciate, you coming through to take time out, and talk about your, your new upcoming projects. But now that we got you here, let's go ahead and talk about your background, right? So, doing our research, you actually have like a multi-continental upbringing. I know you spent some time in West Africa, Europe, U.S., and you moved around between the three, right? Talk about that experience. What was that like being like an international child,
It was definitely an interesting time. So I was born in the U.S., but
Okay.
my parents met in West Africa, in Niger, in the Peace Corps. So my mom is an American volunteer,
Okay.
and my dad was living there doing his thing, born and raised
Okay.
in Niger. And they just kind of fell madly in love and got married. And after they ended up together, my dad came to Boston for
Okay.
his master's and then ended up at Indiana University for his PhD.
Gotcha.
And they needed West African students to come teach Hausa. So they were like, come through. And so whole family moves to Bloomington, Indiana.
Yeah.
Super random, but a surprising number of African transplants there.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So I was born into grad student housing, and all around us were a bunch of other kids very similar. So like we had a bunch of little 4 or 5-year-old besties running around, and a lot of mixed kids, like family from Russia, family from Ghana, and just kind of grew up in that like Indiana University bubble for the first couple of years of my life. And then as soon as, my dad finished school, he got the hell out
I
of
bet.
Indiana.
Yeah, I bet.
But my mom kind of fell in love with it and stayed. And so they kind of went their separate ways
Gotcha.
around the time I was 2.
Okay.
And my dad took a job at UNESCO in Paris.
Okay.
And that's where he met my stepmom. And so then he had 3 more kids in Paris.
Oh, wow.
And so every summer, once I was old enough, we would fly out and stay the summer with my stepmom and my dad and my 3 siblings out there. Because it was, family's so important. And like those summers, I don't think about like, oh, we were in Paris. Like all my memories are of my little siblings.
Right. Yeah.
And like watching movies. I was a lot older than them. So I was like watching Ratatouille, watching Madagascar. I remember watching the Bee movie and I was like 14.
Right, yeah.
But that's like, whenever I think of France, I think of like going to the grocery store. I think of running to the park and hearing teenagers rapping in French, like just random memories like that. It wasn't like some cosmopolitan like international experience. It was just my family. So that's just like normal everyday life. And then in 2008, he relocated to Tunisia.
Okay.
So they kept the place in France. He was like renting a place in Tunisia. So we were all over the damn place. We were like, he was like Carmen Sandiego. It was just like, where is he? Couldn't tell you. But like, we would spend a lot of time in Tunis. That was incredible. One of the most beautiful cities for sure that I've ever lived in. And yeah, I mean, there's just like oranges falling off the tree in December. It's
I love that.
amazing on the Mediterranean. And then after that, he moved to Nairobi. Now he's in Dakar, Senegal.
All over the
Like
place.
he is truly, he does, he helps schools get built in like developing countries. So that's why they're always sending him different places because Africa needs new infrastructure. He's really passionate about getting girls in school. So he definitely helped me get through school, and education was like a big emphasis. I think a lot of West African families come to the U.S. to get a good education. So we definitely fall into that camp.
Okay, that's cool. That's amazing. That's a wild story because that's not a common childhood that people live.
No,
you know?
But then every school year, I'm back in Indiana with my mom. So everybody at school is like, "Oh, she's in Paris." I'm like, "We're just watching TV." So
I'm curious. I know, going to all these different places, I'm sure you had to hear like a lot of different music. Like what were some of those like early influences that you were hearing when you were going to all these different places?
So my mom is a white girl living in Indiana, and she knows we're her African children. And she told me later, she's like, I had no idea what I was supposed to do, but I thought playing you music from your native origins would be good for you.
Right.
And so she was playing Johnny Clegg, if you're familiar with him.
Okay, I've heard the name.
He's a South African artist, and he was making political music,
right,
kind of like anti-apartheid jams. And she would play just anything that she liked that had connections to Africa for us. But then she was also listening to a bunch of, you know, Elton John, Don McLean. She really loved 90s country music.
Okay.
And I feel like my mom was the kind of person who would buy the $1 CD out of the bin, but then fall in love with it and play it 80 times. The albums that nobody else was listening to, she's like, this is the best music in the world. But then my dad, he was like a connoisseur of music. And for my 11th birthday, he bought me a CD called 100% Funk.
Okay.
From Best Buy. You know how like it would just be those mixes?
Right.
And so this is like 2005. And I start listening to the Gap Band.
Ooh.
I start listening to Lip Sync.
Okay.
That Play That Funky Music, White Boy was on there. Oh, there were so many, there were so many classic funk hits on there.
Okay.
And I just absolutely fell in love with that kind of music. And from there, he would play like Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Sade all the time. He really loved Amy Winehouse. He kind of, because he was in Europe, was able to get editions of her CDs that weren't available in the U.S.
Okay.
And he would bring me CDs every time he would come visit us. So I just started collecting all kinds of French pop.
Right.
Really loved me some early 2000s French pop. And so a lot of different influences.
Yeah, they definitely, your parents definitely went out of their way to like expose you to a lot of different things. So kudos to them for that, you know. So I'm curious, right? So I know in doing some research into your story, I know I came across a thing and it said that you actually started classical piano at 8 and you picked up the guitar at 14.
Yes.
Right? Talk about that story. Like how did you get started on, you know, those two different, because those are two totally different instruments. What got you on that path?
So IU is incredible with what they do in the community. Pretty much all the art classes I took growing up were offered for free or at a great discount from the university. And they had this 6-week program where the PhD students at IU who were studying classical piano would give free lessons to elementary school kids. And my mom always wanted to play piano. So she signed me up. And 6 weeks turned into like 6 years. My piano teacher, shout out to Charles, he just knew that I loved piano. He told her, he's like, I think she's got an ear for music. And so he started just training me very, very traditional classic, like almost Baroque type of classical music is what he was teaching me. But I wasn't ever great at reading music.
Okay.
But I could play by ear, and he started teaching me scales. And like the minute he was teaching me scales, I was starting to compose and just like write my own stuff. And he wouldn't teach me pop music, and so I started getting kind of bored. Around middle school time, I was like, okay, I think I'm done with this.
Right.
And took like a year, and then my friend got a guitar. And I was like, man, that's cool. So I was walking dogs.
Okay.
Had my own job, and took every penny I got and bought a guitar. And my mom's like, I'm not paying for lessons again.
Right.
You threw that piano in the trash. And so I was like, okay, I'm making $5 a day. Okay, I'm gonna pay for my own lessons.
Right.
And I don't know why I keep hitting this microphone.
No, you're good. You're
I
good.
gesticulate too much. So yeah, I think it was like $20 for a lesson. And so I just started doing lessons, probably a couple months, ran out of money very quick, and just started learning on YouTube since then. So
okay, cool. So early in your musical journey, you bounced around between a few different genres. I know you had bounced around between like punk, neo soul, jazz, stuff like that, right? What exactly were you searching for musically during that time?
I don't think I was searching for anything specifically. I think I just I lived in the art storm and had a lot of theater friends, marching band friends, a lot of white friends. And they just kind of asked me to be in their punk band.
Gotcha.
And ended up playing some folk. And honestly, just the music I was making was a reflection of just friends and people that I was hanging out with in North Carolina and in Raleigh.
Okay.
The music scene there is more like bluegrass, or you might find an indie rock band. And if you want hip hop, soul, R&B, you go to Durham.
Ah, okay.
And so what happened with the neo soul transition was I moved to Durham.
Okay.
And I got a job out there. And so once I relocated to Durham, I got in this whole different circle and kind of branched out of my artsy nerd friends, as much as I love them and still hang out with them. But I think I started hanging out with musicians who started challenging like the type of music that I was making and listening to. I discovered these kids called Young Bull. There's a trio out of Durham. And I want to say they were in high school when I was in college. And I just discovered them and found them on Spotify and got really inspired and started going to those shows and hanging out with that scene and just being like, hey guys.
Okay.
I volunteered at a music festival called Art of Cool, which is a really cool jazz and soul. Gosh, the guy from Parliament, George, what's his name?
I know who you're talking about. I'm blanking out on his name too.
I can see him in my mind's eye.
Right. I'm right there with you.
I was volunteering backstage, but that guy, George from Parliament. Don't sue me. I forget his last name. But he was the headliner at Art of Cool in like 2017. And I just remember being backstage volunteering, and like the music royalty of Durham was back there, and realizing I was just like, I've been in the wrong genre. I've been in the wrong places. And I think I just sort of had my realization as far as being an international kid, being in Indiana, and having that sort of background, feeling like I don't know who I am. I don't know where I fit or where I belong. And I just got so used to that feeling until I moved to Durham. And I kind of had a moment where I was like, oh, yeah.
It's like, almost like you found your people.
I found my people. And I knew that I wanted to be making music that was more close in line with my African roots. And that I think I started getting a lot more comfortable being in spaces that were not predominantly white. And it was an awkward transition for me. And I think I felt a lot of social anxiety until I got to know a lot of people as like close friends and realized that like we all feel that when we're in predominantly white spaces. And it doesn't have to be the default setting, and that we can kind of come into these spaces that are designed for us and like express our experiences and finding myself like connecting so deeply with other artists who were Black women and seeing so much of myself in them started making me feel more confident and find my voice as a writer.
Gotcha. That's awesome. I love that. Okay, so I'm curious. I know you spent some time, you know, in Durham, and then 7 or so years ago, you ended up coming to Austin, right?
I did.
Okay, so what originally brought you here? If you know, you were at a point where you know you were in Durham, you kind of, you know, we were saying earlier, you kind of found your, you know, your people, stuff like that.
Yeah.
What could, you know, what convinced you to like, you know, kind of uproot and, you know, come to Austin and kind of figure yourself out here?
So after 2 years in Durham, I felt like I kind of hit a ceiling for how much more I could grow in my music career.
Okay.
And it's a very small town, so there's really only so many venues. And even if you go all the way to Chapel Hill, you go all the way to Raleigh, there's maybe 4 stages in the whole town where they're going to want my type of music.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I thought about LA. My sister is actually out there.
Okay.
But I felt like I wasn't quite ready for LA.
Okay.
Thought about New York, didn't have the money.
Yeah.
And I kept hearing amazing things about Austin.
Right.
And I knew it was the live music capital. I knew that I was going to meet other musicians here who I could collaborate with. I had a couple friends, and the company I was working for had an office here. So that was it. I up and left.
There we go. So I know you spent 7 years here as a musician. Since then, you know, Austin has changed a lot, right?
Yeah.
And you know, so in that span of time, how has your relationship with Austin, you know, kind of evolved?
I think it's gotten better.
Okay.
Like I know it sounds funny, and a lot of people prefer old Austin.
Right. Yeah.
But old Austin is overhyped. I'll tell you that.
Okay. Okay.
Hear me out.
Now it's hard to hear as a native, but okay, I'll let you land. Okay.
I don't want to step on anyone's toes. But when I moved to Austin, I felt like outside looking in a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Which, of course, as a feeling for me, moving somewhere and feeling like I don't fit in here, I don't belong here,
Right.
made me feel like, why'd I even come? Like, I would go to open mics, or I would go to a venue where they were like, oh, yeah, we're showcasing female artists.
Yeah.
And I'd show up and be like, hey, I'm a female artist. And they'd be like, is that Gap you're wearing? There's no holes in your shirt. And like, I hadn't gotten into like the movie buff side of me. I hadn't befriended enough hipsters yet to have started knowing how to talk their language. But when I came here, the hipsters iced me out.
Really? I'm surprised.
I felt very much like too North Carolina, too shiny, too polished. Like, North Carolina is definitely a different culture than Texas. And North Carolina has her hipsters as well.
Right, right.
But I went to college with them, so I understood them, and they were very welcoming in a way that when I first came to Austin, I felt like the nerd. And it took me a really long time to sort of find the spaces that the other nerds were, I guess. And I felt like when I got here, it was also, I guess, sorry, I'm trying to find the right words for it. It was millennial dominated, I would say. So there was like 7 years ago, Austin,
Right.
I would say, was a millennial dominated Austin. So you're getting millennial culture, millennial way of thinking of things, millennial values. And in the last 7 years, I've seen the music industry shift to where Gen Z is really stepping into the primary age group that makes music. And so now when I go to shows, when I am at venues and I'm hiring session players, they're all Gen Z.
Okay.
And I think I'm a zillennial. I'm like right in the middle.
Yeah, right on that cusp. Okay.
Yeah. And so I've kind of seen this more like Gen Z ethos take over the music industry in this town.
Okay.
And I think it's not necessarily like, oh, they're better millennial versus Gen Z.
Right.
I think I just understand and connect with Gen Z culture more. And that it's been a lot more easy for me to connect with other Gen Z musicians and the way that they see the world and the way that they approach collaborating and the way when you walk into a new space, like I don't feel like I have to prove myself. And that could also partially be because I'm no longer 25, like I'm in my 30s now. And I kind of walk into spaces and I feel really welcome. And I feel a lot happier now being like out in the music scene. And I feel like even the most hipstery of hipsters are still just like, hey, do you want to like sit with us? Like very, very cool anti-bullying culture. They'll only bully you online in your comments.
True.
Not to your face.
Right. Okay.
But yeah.
So I know in a past interview, I know you had said it wasn't until Austin that, you know, you found a band that a band and a sound that like truly stuck.
Yes.
Right. What clicked? Because I know you had some band members. I want to say it's Ibra Martinez and Taylor Turner.
Yes.
How did you link up with those two?
So I met Ibra through a friend.
Okay.
I went to this thing. It's called Austin Songcore.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna be playing there on Thursday, February 12th, and it's just this big open networking thing where songwriters just kind of come, share their song. And I met this guy, Tobias, and I knew him for a year, and I needed a guitar player, so I messaged him because I knew he knows everybody. And one of the welcoming Gen Z musicians in town.
Right.
And he just shot me a couple of guitarists, and I found Ibra, didn't think much of it, just like hit him up, was like, hey, come to this gig. He shows up, and just like immediately, this kid is a pro.
Yeah.
Like, he is such a professional, Texas State jazz guitar.
Okay.
Really, really just impressed me with how he approached making music with like so much craftsmanship.
Yeah.
And I think there was just immediately like a working respect between us. He's a lot younger than me,
Right.
Gen Z. And I just started like hearing the way he was hearing my songs. And slowly, I think from him playing the guitar parts that I used to be playing by myself, I started realizing that the kind of music I was making had potential to be something more with the sonic choices he would make.
Okay.
And so it got to the point where we were doing more gigs, just writing, and then we got in a cadence of being in the studio together every week and just really, really started learning how to produce these songs myself with his help.
Okay.
And I think we just kind of have a working relationship that really, really works for the sound. And I would definitely credit him as a co-producer on the record 100%.
Gotcha.
And then Taylor we found through my mixing engineer. And just when the four of us got in a room together, it was like, everyone's a pro. Everyone's hilarious.
Yep.
Everyone's having fun. And just like 6 hours studio time just disappears. And all of the pictures of behind the scenes I have of us, we're all just cheesing so much.
There we go.
And it's just a bunch of music nerds
Yeah.
making sound.
Gotcha. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, so one thing I found out about you is that you record your vocals alone in the closet, right? Versus
do.
like a studio, right?
Yes.
What is that? What does that intimacy give your music that, you know, recording in a big studio wouldn't?
I think it allows me to try things that I would be way too self-conscious
Right.
to try. And then also I've been working with my voice coach for a little over 2 years now.
Okay.
So it allows me to sing as many takes and like try and hit that note
Right.
a little breathier this time, a little beltier this time, and then kind of go through and chop up the vocals.
Gotcha.
So it gives me control too of the storytelling.
Okay. You can kind of like play around a little bit in there.
Exactly.
Got it.
Like if a note needs to be really breathy, I'm the one who can kind of make that decision instead of letting anyone's outside influence be like, no, you should sing every note this way. I'm like,
Yeah.
I got to I'm here with the story that this song is, and producing all the vocals myself at home just, makes the story feel more grounded.
There we go. Okay. So let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about some of your musical influences, right? So I know we had talked about this off air. Your love for Sade is very clear, like sonically, right?
Yeah.
What is it about her artistry that, you know, continues to inspire you?
I think the way she communicates intimacy and like the desire for closeness, the desire for like almost reaching the spiritual plane through another person and your love for them. I think I connect with that a lot.
Okay.
I think that, that sense of longing in her work. And I think she's very open and transparent about like this longing to belong. Whether it's, you know, in the sense of some of her music is about Africa, some of her music is about her life in London. But I think most of it is like this deep longing to belong to another and to kind of connect and merge with them is something that's so beautiful to me about her work. And I think I find myself shying away less from those sorts of themes in my own work, just because she kind of gives you permission to surrender to that.
Got it. I love that. Okay, so in addition to Sade, you also have a deep love for like film noir and like old Hollywood, which we had talked about that earlier. When did that, visual storytelling start, becoming a part of your music,
That's very new, actually.
Okay.
I would say about a year ago.
Okay.
I started getting really into the old movies. Rewatched the show Mad Men.
Okay.
Which is a really cool one, and just started realizing the costumes on that show.
Yeah.
Like, were my favorite part of the show. And once I started watching that, I started watching old movies kind of through this lens of like, what are people wearing and how do their clothes tell the story, and the lighting and the shadows and the way that it's used to like accentuate the hats and the jackets and the lines, and starting to think about costumes as a part of storytelling in my own music and like what I want to wear on stage. And I think that sort of vibe just really resonated with where I was a year ago. I think the history of film noir is very interesting in that it kind of came to be because of like political strife and instability after World War II. Like all of these people were coming home from the war and feeling very disillusioned with America, feeling like things were promised to them that were not delivered. And I see a lot of parallels between the world then and the world we're in now. And I think film noir is kind of taking that feeling and turning it into a mood and curating an aesthetic from that mood that almost feels like an act of rebellion and reflecting like, hey, this is my way of saying like this world that we're living in.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's almost like a act of revolution almost. So
it's sort of like a cinematic or an artistic form of rebellion, in a way, but also like an artistic way of making sense of what is going on.
Gotcha.
And I'm gonna find a vibe even in these dark times.
There we go. I get that. Okay, so let's talk about Royale, right? Your latest project that just came out, it's coming out. You describe Royale as a soundtrack to a movie that doesn't exist.
Yes.
Right? So what kind of movie is Royale?
So I was trying to write a screenplay.
Okay.
I'm not just a movie buff. I am a failed screenwriter too.
Okay.
And during pandemic, I ended up going back to school for creative writing for about a semester, and was working on a story. It was actually called Marco, and it's about these two characters who kind of are trying to find love, but instead just burn each other instead. And definitely not rooted in reality.
Right.
So I think I was trying to write through some stuff
Okay.
that I was going through.
Got it.
And
Got it.
fell in love with the story along the way and these characters. They were called like Dahlia was the girl character, Marco was the boy character.
Yeah.
And this was just kind of about their tumultuous love story. And the poker theme kind of came very recently, I would say a year ago. Pocket Aces was the first song that I wrote, and I was kind of trying to get into the voice of these two characters. I was still working on the screenplay. I'm still working on the screenplay.
Got it. Okay.
Very passively. But I felt like I finally locked into Dahlia's voice specifically. And the song Pocket Aces kind of came through, and it almost felt like I was kind of channeling as Dahlia and realizing that some of this is like a character that could be in a screenplay, but also some of this is like an alter ego that allows me to express things that I normally wouldn't feel comfortable saying or sharing. And I realized that the screenplay and all those aspirations were kind of just a desire to express what I couldn't say through this fictional world and this fictional universe.
Okay.
And that is kind of when the album started to make sense and came together. And then the rest of the songs just very quickly came after that. I think next was A Deal's a Deal, Queen of Hearts, all that. So
there we go.
And
so,
I just,
I'm sorry. So, okay. So I was going to say, so each song really feels like a scene, right? And like with that said though, like, do you write like the visuals in your mind first, or like does the music lead?
The music leads.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I started writing the music before I had the visuals. And it's been really hard to now come up with the visuals.
Okay.
And I'm kind of back to my roots, as in I'm on Pinterest again.
Okay.
In college, in 2013, Pinterest was very big.
Hey, Pinterest still has some good stuff, so I can't knock Pinterest.
It's still holding it down. But I started realizing that a lot of the visuals and aesthetics that I was pinning on Pinterest were lining up with aesthetics and visuals that Sade had used in the 80s.
Okay.
Which I think was also like a very politically weird time.
Yeah.
And I just kind of realized that desire to be seen and the kind of push-pull that we feel to where we don't want to be hurt. And yet we also deeply desire to be seen. And I started pinning a lot of things like windows and mirrors and different kind of vibey color palettes that kind of captured that dissonance and that push and pull. And I think the screenplay was trying to tell that story all along. But it is not easy to write a movie.
I bet. Okay, so with all these different visuals, right? I am curious, and this is kind of a side question. How do live performances kind of fit into that, cinematic world you're building?
So I would say they fit into that world just sonically. Like you could sit and listen to the music and you'll hear in the words and the vocals and also with the way that I try to curate my lighting when I'm on stage. But during South by Southwest, I definitely have some plans to bring in more of the visuals.
Okay.
People will have to see. But it is definitely not so easy to get your hands on giant mirrors and windows and transport those easily. But I am, things are in the works.
Okay.
For that.
There we go. Okay, so Pocket Aces.
Yes.
Dropping, it'll be the day after this episode, so February 20th.
At midnight.
Right. Does the timing mean anything specific? Like, is there a reason you're dropping on the 20th?
Not really.
Okay.
I actually wanted to release it on Valentine's Day. We had to push it back a week.
Okay.
But I mean, I always love February to put out a song that's about love. So
there we go. So what exactly is the story behind Pocket Aces?
So I was, I feel like I was kind of in a weird space, as many people were in February of 2025.
Yeah.
World was changing,
Right.
not necessarily for the better. And I think I just kind of retreated to watching a lot of movies and just kind of curling up on the couch. And it was just this really long rainy streak too in Austin. And I was just,
Oh yeah, it was.
like, last
Okay.
February, I feel like it rained for a month.
Yeah.
And I was just not leaving the house. What's there to do? You know, Austin, when it was cold or rainy, nothing's happening. And so I was writing one night and it got a little warm. So I open up my window and it's raining and I just start writing over the 2 chords like a tattoo.
Okay.
Uses this like really unique voicing on guitar. So I was playing those chords and it's just the same 2 chords. So it kind of puts you in a trance.
Right. Okay.
And so windows open, it's raining, it's dark, I'm in a trance. And I just started getting in touch with that voice, that alter ego, who I would call Dahlia.
Right.
And just the story kind of comes through. And there was a lyric in there that I randomly, I don't even remember like singing these lyrics, but I went back and I listened and I said something about pocket full of aces.
Okay.
And so then I was like, that's interesting. And so then I'll do this where I'll write a song, not remember what I sang, and then I'll go back and transcribe all the lyrics.
Okay.
And so then once I transcribed the lyrics, it just very quickly became clear what the story was about this girl who wants to be seen and wants to be held, but also has, you know, walls up that you have to get past and is not easily reveal their hand, which is kind of why I brought these cards.
Okay, there we go.
So I've been trying to collect like the coolest playing cards that I can. But yeah, so I just kind of.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I really like these cards.
Yeah.
Cameras over here.
See, this is you right here.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, and then I started kind of playing with cards just on my own, and Queen of Hearts is also kind of one of the songs I wrote right after that. So I was kind of thinking about, instead of calling them Dahlia and Marco, then in my head I started thinking about which card would they be.
Okay.
So I think the boy character would be the Ace of Spades, and then the Dahlia character would be Queen of Hearts.
Got it.
So
I like that.
that is kind of where that came from.
That's really cool.
And yeah, then just from there, all the songs from Royale just kind of lined up pretty easy.
I see. Is that another deck over there with the gold?
Yes. So these are kind of some of the visuals that you're asking about.
Right. All right.
Playing around with these holographic cards here.
Oh, those are cool.
So I thought these were cool. And just kind of collecting them, and then also started playing around with some more fans.
Okay. They
So
got
here
the
we
props
go.
to go along with it. I like
But
that.
yeah, kind of just reflecting that.
Right?
Come on.
Mysterious. There we go. Okay, so for your fans that that have loved House of Cards and Queen of Hearts, what will surprise them about Pocket Aces that they haven't heard from the other ones?
I think they would be surprised, one, to know how long I've been working on it.
Okay.
I recorded the demo almost a year ago and have just been stacking an infinite number of layers on top of it. So
Gotcha.
I think they would be surprised if they looked at this studio session, just how many layers and stacks and how much time has gone into curating every second of that song to create the feeling.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm curious, right? So let's talk the future, right? So you've done a lot of solid projects. You got, you're in the midst of the rollout of Royale. You got the new single dropping. What does the future look like for Karima Santi? Are we talking possible tours, like additional albums? Like what are like the next 5 to 10 years look like for you?
The next 5 to 10 years?
If you can guesstimate that, like what do you think that possibly looks like?
I definitely want to do a movie soundtrack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
I mean, touring is cool. Playing live shows is cool. I know a lot of artists are having trouble kind of with the business model of the music industry right now. I would say almost everyone.
Right.
But I would say of all my friends who work in music, the ones who've gotten into doing music for film and TV seem to have kind of the most steady work. And I could definitely see myself getting into that. They call it like sync licensing.
Gotcha.
So definitely getting a chance to put some of my songs in TV and film. And I mean, still playing shows around Austin too. There's a couple of venues. I've been popping down to the Elephant Room on Monday nights. They kind of have their open jazz jam.
Okay.
So I can just see myself continuing to just really stay connected to the community here in Austin and here at Dawa.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, we'll see. Maybe in the next 5 years playing a South by.
Hey,
Showcase.
we gotta manifest that.
Gotta
know.
manifest that. And yeah, definitely just. I mean, you got to do it. Keep growing on social media. You know, I've been challenging myself to like learn how to fall in love with the content game.
Got it. I love that. Okay. So we went through the Q&A. Now we're at the final question of the night, right? And we talked about this off air. We ask everybody that comes through this question. So basically, you know, not if you got a chance to, you know, come on the show, you know, chop it up, good vibes, good conversation, everything like that. Who do you think would be a good guest for the podcast? But before you answer, this has to be somebody you know personally, somebody that's, you know, in your phone contacts. Like, hey, I went to the 2-hour lunch break. You need to go ahead and come through. Who would that person or people be?
I would say Smooth Nature.
Okay. Shout out Smooth Nature.
Yeah, R&B trio. I think they're actually based out of Waco.
Okay.
And but they play shows in Austin all the time. I met them at the Songcore Songwriters Night, and they would be great. I think you would really get along with them. And they've got a great story too.
Right.
I think it's two brothers and then their friend.
Hey, y'all heard her. We've been chopping it up in the DMs. Smooth Nature, y'all. We got to make that happen ASAP.
Tell them Karima says hi.
Right. There we go. Exactly. Okay. So before we wrap up, let's go ahead and plug your social media handles. Where can everybody find you? Where can everybody find your music?
Yeah, so you can find my music, Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere, Karima Santi. And my Instagram is Acoustic Karima, and I'm Karima Santi everywhere else, YouTube, I think TikTok as well, Karima Santi. What's the other platform everybody likes? Twitter? I think I have a Twitter. Threads.
There we go.
I'm
Threads.
Acoustic Karima on Threads. There you go.
There we go. All right, man. Well, that wraps up this edition of the 2-Hour Lunch Break podcast, man. Big shout out to Karima for pulling up, chopping it up with us. Shout out to our production behind the boards, Everett. You can tap in with him on Instagram at Cafe Yodo. If you're rocking with the conversation, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications on YouTube so you don't miss a drop. New episodes of the 2-Hour Lunch Break stream every Thursday on all DSPs, and you can follow us on Instagram and X at 2HLBPOD. Austin, we do this for the city, a podcast for Austin, from Austin. Thank you for tuning in. We out.
And it's coming home to Texas. It's coming home all the way to Austin, Texas, baby.